The private dining room was silent. 12 men around the table. All of them powerful. All of them watching Shin Jae-won the way you watch something that could end you without warning. Jae-won leaned back in his chair. Let the silence stay exactly where it was. Then his eyes moved, slow and deliberate, to the waitress moving quietly along the far wall. He watched her for a moment. Then looked back at the table. She has been refilling that same glass for 20 minutes, he said. Casual. Easy. Like he was commenting on the weather. Either the glass has a hole in it, he paused just long enough, or she is trying to make someone at this table jealous. The room froze. Not one smile. Not one breath. Not one muscle moved on any of the 12 faces around that table. Then, from directly behind him, a laugh. Short. Sudden. Completely real. The kind that escapes before a person can stop it. Jae-won turned. A waitress. Standing at the side table. Hand flying to cover her mouth. Eyes wide. Looking directly at him, not away, directly at him. The entire room turned with him. 12 powerful men watching her. Waiting to see what she would do next. She lowered her hand slowly. Looked at him. Gave one small nod. The nod of a woman who had made a decision and was standing behind it. Then went straight back to her work. No apology. No explanation. No shrinking. Jae-won turned back to the table. Said nothing. For a very long time. Blackheart. After the dinner. After every powerful man had filed out carefully. After every handshake and every measured word. Jae-won was still at the table. His lieutenant Woo Jin sat beside him, going through the night's agenda out loud. Jae-won was not listening. He was watching the waitress clear the far table. The way she moved, precise, completely unbothered, like the room and every powerful person who had just left it meant absolutely nothing to her. Sir, Woo Jin said. Give me a minute, Jae-won said. Woo Jin stopped talking. The waitress worked her way around the room. She reached his table last. Began clearing without looking at him. Why did you laugh? Jae-won said. She stopped. Looked at him. Because it was funny, she said. Nobody else laughed, he said. She held his gaze. No flicker of discomfort anywhere on her face. The other waitress, she said. The one you made the joke about. She has been trying to get the attention since the dinner started. Everyone at the table could see it. She picked up a glass and set it on her tray. You saw it too. And you said exactly what everyone was thinking but nobody was going to say. She looked at him. That is why it was funny. Because it was true. And you said it like it was nothing. Jae-won looked at her. And the other waitress, he said. She is your friend. She is, the woman said. Which made it funnier. Something moved at the corner of Jae-won's mouth. Almost a smile. He stopped it. What is your name, he said. Salam, she said. Where are you from, Salam? Ethiopia, she said. Addis Ababa. He nodded once. Slowly. Like every single thing she had just said was being filed somewhere careful. She finished clearing the table. Picked up her tray. Walked out. Jae-won watched the door long after she went through it. Woo Jin looked at his papers. Looked at the door. Looked at his papers again. In 11 years working beside Shin Jae-won, He had never once seen the man watch a door after someone walked through it. He wrote nothing about it in his notes. Some things, you see, and you keep to yourself. Jae-won went home. Sat in the back of his car the whole drive. Not looking at his phone. Not speaking to his driver. Just sitting. Nobody else was listening properly. That was what she said. He kept turning it over. Not because it was profound. Because it was so completely simple. So completely true. And she had said it the way you say something obvious, like she could not imagine why it would need explaining. He got home. Ate nothing. Sat in the quiet of a house that had always been quiet, and noticed, for the first time, that it was the kind of silence that had nothing warm in it. He thought about the laugh. The specific sound of it, sudden and real and completely unplanned. He thought about which made it funnier. The way she had said it. Like she was just talking. Not performing. Not calculating. Just talking to him like he was a person sitting at a table. He was still thinking about it when he woke up at 3 in the morning. He stared at the ceiling. She said the joke was funny because it was true. He had been in rooms full of people his entire life. Powerful people. People who laughed at everything he said. People who agreed with everything he said. People who arranged their entire faces around whatever expression they thought he wanted to see. And this woman, a waitress, from Addis Ababa, had stood at his table and told him exactly why something was funny. Like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like he was just a man who had said something. He closed his eyes. Opened them again immediately. Because closing them just made it clearer. He was back the next evening. He told Woo Jin he wanted the same restaurant. Same table. He wanted her section. Woo Jin said nothing. Arranged everything. Salam appeared at his table. Looked at him. Then at the empty seats around him. Then back at him, with the calm expression of someone who was not surprised and was not going to perform surprise. You came back, she said. I liked the food, he said. She looked at him. The specific look of a woman who had decided, we can pretend that if you want. What can I get you, she said. What do you recommend, he said. She told him. No flattery. No performance. This is good. This is better. Avoid the third dish tonight, the kitchen is having a problem with it. He listened to every word. She brought the food. Came back once to check. You said avoid the third dish, he said. I did, she said. Why does it matter to you if I enjoy my food, he said. She looked at him like the question was genuinely strange. Because you are at my table, she said. Everything at my table should be right. He looked at her. Sit down, he said. She raised one eyebrow. I am working, she said. 5 minutes, he said. She looked at him for a moment. Then pulled out the chair across from him and sat down, like a woman who had decided that 5 minutes was 5 minutes, and she was not going to make it complicated. They talked. He said something dry about the couple at the table near the window. The husband clearly somewhere else in his mind. The wife clearly aware of it. Both of them performing a dinner neither of them wanted to be at. Salam looked at the table. Looked back at him. You notice everything, she said. So do you, he said. She considered this. Tilted her head slightly. The difference, she said, is that when I notice things I feel them. You notice things and file them. He looked at her. Is that a problem, he said. No, she said. It just means somewhere behind all that filing, she stood up, there is a lot that never gets opened. He looked up at her. And you think you know what is in the files? She picked up her tray. Looked at him once. Straight. I think, she said, that the man who makes that kind of joke in a room full of people who are too afraid to laugh, is not someone who enjoys the silence that follows. She paused. I think he makes the joke hoping someone will finally just be real with him. And nobody ever is. Jae-won said nothing. She walked away. Jae-won sat with that sentence for the rest of the evening. All the way home. And was still sitting with it when he woke up the next morning. And the morning after that. 4 days later. His team around the table. The layout of a building on the screen. Entry points. Timing. The specific details of an operation that needed complete focus. Jae-won was giving it complete focus. Then he checked his watch. We are stopping, he said. Everyone looked at him. We will go and eat, he said. Continue after. Dead silence. Woo Jin looked at Lieutenant Han. Lieutenant Han looked at Lieutenant Park. Nobody looked at Jae-won directly. We can have something brought here, sir, Woo Jin said. Very carefully. I want to go, Jae-won said. I like the restaurant. I want it freshly prepared. We are going. Not one more word was said. They stood up. Got their jackets. Filed out behind him, for lieutenants who had planned operations across 3 countries, following their boss to a restaurant because he suddenly cared about fresh food, not one of them believing for a single second that was the real reason, not one of them saying so. They arrived. Salam was at another table. Crouched slightly beside a young mother, making the most ridiculous face, so committed, so completely serious about it, that the baby who had been crying stopped entirely and just stared at her. Confused and fascinated. The mother laughed with relief. Salam straightened. Patted the baby's hand once. Said something to the mother that made her smile. And went back to work. Jae-won had stopped walking. Woo Jin walked into his back. Stepped aside immediately. Said nothing. They sat. When Salam came to the table, she looked at Jae-won. Then at the 4 men arranged around him. Then back at Jae-won. Hungry tonight, she said. We were working, Jae-won said. She said. Like she was deciding how much of that she believed. She turned to take the other's orders. Leaned slightly across the table to note something. Her hand brushed Jae-won's where it rested on the table. Brief. Accidental. She continued writing without reacting. Jae-won did not move his hand. Did not look at it. Did not look at her. Just kept it exactly where it was. For the remaining 2 seconds she was leaning, like a man who had decided, very quietly, that he was not moving anything. When she walked away, Woo Jin was studying the table. Lieutenant Han was looking at the ceiling. Lieutenant Park had suddenly found his menu extremely interesting. Nobody said a word. They were leaving. Woo Jin fell into step beside Jae-won at the door. Dropped his voice. Sir. Corner table. 3 men. Park Sung-ho's. Jae-won did not look immediately. Walked 2 more steps. Then looked. The 3 men were not hiding it. Watching him directly. Letting him know they had seen him here. Letting him know they would be reporting back. This is a problem, sir, Woo Jin said quietly. They will tell Park this place matters to you. He will use it. He will come here. He will. We will come back tomorrow, Jae-won said. Woo Jin stopped walking. Sir. We will come back every day I want to come back, Jae-won said. Without stopping. Without raising his voice. And nothing will happen. Because Park Sung-ho understands clearly what happens when he reaches towards something of mine. He got in the car. Woo Jin stood at the door for a moment. Looked back at the restaurant. At Salam moving between tables inside. Completely unaware. Not knowing she had just been placed, without being asked, without being told, under the protection of the most dangerous man in Seoul. Woo Jin got in the car. Said nothing. Some things, you understand, without needing them explained. The next evening. No car. No Woo Jin. No lieutenants. Jae-won walked in alone. The hostess looked at the door behind him. Looked at him. Looked at the door again, like she was waiting for the rest to appear. Just me, Jae-won said. He sat at the same table. Salam came over. Looked at him. Looked at the empty chairs. Looked at him again. Where are the others, she said. I came alone, he said. I can see that, she said. I am asking why. He looked at her. Does there need to be a reason, he said. For a man who is never alone, she said. Yes. He said nothing. She looked at him a moment longer. What would you like, she said. Whatever you think, he said. She studied him. You keep saying that, she said. Because you keep being right, he said. Something shifted in her expression. Small. Warm. Gone before it fully arrived. She brought him food that was not on the menu, something she had clearly arranged with the kitchen herself, set it in front of him without explaining and started to walk away. Salam, he said. She turned. Sit down, he said. She looked at the restaurant around them. 3 other tables occupied. All of them fine. She sat down. Why do you keep coming back, she said. Directly. Looking at him. Jae-won looked at her. The food is good, he said. Then, you can call me by my name. Jae-won, she said. It was the first time she had used his name. He went very still. She held his gaze. Not performing patience. Actually patient, the way she was about everything. Because it is the only place I sit at a table, he said slowly, and feel like nothing is being performed at me. Salam was quiet. Everything around me, he said. Every room I walk into. Every person who speaks to me. There is always something underneath it. Something they want. Something they are afraid of. Something they are calculating. He paused. You just talk to me. You are just a person at my table, she said simply. I know, he said. That is exactly it. She looked at him for a long moment. Is that lonely, she said. The other way. He looked at her. Nobody had asked him that. In his entire life. Nobody had looked at what his life was and asked if it was lonely. Yes, he said. Just, yes. Salam nodded slowly. Like something had been confirmed. They sat together in the quiet. Not filling it. Just letting it be what it was. After a while she said, What do you do? When you are not in that room. He looked at her. What do you mean, he said. I mean when it is just you, she said. No lieutenants. No table full of men. What does J1 do? He thought about it. Genuinely. Like the question had not occurred to him before. I work, he said. And when you are not working? He said nothing for a moment. I do not remember the last time I was not working, he said. Salam looked at him. Not with pity. With the steady look of someone receiving important information. That, she said, is also a little sad. You keep saying that, he said. Because you keep proving it, she said. Something moved at the corner of his mouth. He looked down at his plate. Looked back up. What do you do, he said. When you are not here. She thought about it. Genuinely. I cook. I call my mother on Sundays. I walk by the river when it is not too cold. I read. She looked at him. Small things. But they are mine. They sound like enough, he said. They are, she said simply. That is the point. Salam was serving a table across the room. 3 men. Loud in a specific way of people who want to be heard. J1 watched from his table. Salam handled them the way she handled everything, moving efficiently, giving them nothing to catch on to. Then one of them said something low. Salam stopped. Set down what she was holding. Turned and looked at the man directly. I will ask you once to keep this professional, she said. Quietly. Clearly. Just once. The man looked at his friends. Smiled. Said it again. Reached out. His hand stopped in the air. Because J1's hand was wrapped around his wrist. Nobody had seen him move. Nobody had seen him stand. He was simply there, holding the man's wrist up in the air, looking at him with the expression of a man who was not angry. Just decided. Stand up, J1 said quietly. The man looked at his friends. The friends stood up. What happened in the next 40 seconds was not loud. Not dramatic. J1 moved through all 3 of them the way water moves through things, finding every opening, efficiently, completely, until all 3 were on the floor and the restaurant had gone absolutely silent. J1 straightened his jacket. Turned to Salam. She was looking at him, not with fear, not with shock, with the expression of a woman who was completely recalculating everything she thought she had understood about who had been sitting at her table every night. Are you all right? He said. Yes, she said quietly. He looked at her for a moment. Then, from outside, footsteps. Many of them. Fast. Stay inside, J1 said. He walked out. Park Sung-ho's men. 8 of them. Spread across the entrance. Not hiding what they were there for. J1 looked at them. You came yourself, the one at the front said. Good. Saves us time. They came at once. It was not clean. 8 men, and J1 alone, and they were not there to warn him. He took hits. A fist caught the side of his face. Something caught his ribs. A cut opened above his eye and ran down immediately. He did not go down. He moved through them, hit for hit, opening for opening, 1 down, 2, 3, not stopping, not slowing, until all 8 were on the ground around him and the street had gone silent. J1 stood in the middle of it. Breathing hard. Jacket torn at the shoulder. Sweat running from the cut above his eye down the side of his face. He turned back to the restaurant. Salam was standing at the door. She had not stayed inside. She looked at him. At the men on the ground. Then at his face. with an expression that was not fear. Not awe. Something quieter. Something that sat in the chest and did not move. I told you to stay inside, he said. I know, she said. Come in. She sat him down at his table. Brought a clean cloth. Water. Came toward his face with the cloth. J1 caught her wrist. Not hard. Just stopping her. She looked at him. I am fine, he said. Salam. J1, she said. The same way she had said it before. Direct and completely calm. Let me. He looked at her for a long moment. Released her wrist. She moved forward. Brought the cloth gently to the cut above his eye, carefully, her face close to his, completely focused, the way she did everything, like it deserved to be done properly. He stayed completely still. Not because she told him to. Because she was this close. And he found, he did not want to move a single thing that might make her step back. She pulled back slightly to check the cut. Found him already looking at her. She did not look away. He did not look away. The restaurant around them was empty now. Staff had disappeared somewhere quiet. The street outside had gone still. Just the two of them. In the silence. Her hand still lightly at the side of his face. Neither of them moving. Neither of them speaking. Because the thing sitting in the space between them did not need words yet. And both of them knew it. You need to leave Seoul, he said. Very quietly. No, she said. Salam. What happened tonight? I know what happened tonight, she said. I am not leaving. He looked at her. Then you are not staying here, he said. Not tonight. Not until this is finished. She looked at him. Where am I going, she said. With me, he said. She held his gaze. A long moment. Then she stood up. Went to the back. Came out with her bag. Ready, she said. Like it was simple. Like she had just decided, and that was the end of it. He stood. And they walked out together, into the night, into whatever this was becoming, neither of them naming it, both of them walking toward it anyway. The car was quiet the whole drive. Not uncomfortable quiet. The quiet of two people who had been through something together and did not need to fill the space with noise. Salam looked out the window at Seoul moving past. J1 looked at her looking at it. She is not afraid, he thought. She has never been afraid. Not once. Not of the restaurant. Not of those men. Not of me. Not of this car. Not of wherever we are going. Who is this woman? They arrived. The house was large and quiet. J1's staff appeared immediately. Efficient. Discreet. He said 2 words to one of them. The woman nodded and disappeared. He showed Salam to a room. Opened the door. She walked in. Looked around. Looked back at him. This room is bigger than my entire apartment, she said. Sleep well, he said. J1, she said. He stopped. Thank you, she said. Simply. Directly. He looked at her. You are the one who cleaned my face, he said. I know, she said. I am not thanking you for the room. He looked at her. She held his gaze. He nodded once. And closed the door. He stood in the corridor for a moment. Hand still on the door handle. Not moving. He had brought people into this house before. Associates. Staff. People who needed to be somewhere safe. All of it practical. All of it arranged. This was different. He knew it was different. He had known it since the moment she picked up her bag and said, "Ready," like it was simple. He let go of the handle. Then walked to his own room. Sat on the edge of his bed. And thought. She said thank you like it was about something much larger than tonight. And it was. And she knew he knew it. And she said it anyway. He sat with that for a very long time. J1 woke early. Lay in the silence for a moment. Then got up. He made a call first, to the restaurant manager. Brief. Controlled. Letting them know Salam would not be in for several days. That she was safe. That the situation was being handled. He kept it to 3 sentences. Then put the phone down. He walked through the house. He followed something, a smell, warm and unfamiliar, coming from the direction of his kitchen. He stopped at the doorway. Salam was at his stove. Moving through his kitchen the way she moved through the restaurant, precise, completely at home, like she had assessed the space, found what she needed, and decided this was happening. Without asking permission from anyone. Including him. She was wearing the clothes his staff had left for her. Her hair down. Moving between the stove and the counter, humming something very quietly. Not performing. Not aware of him yet. Just herself. Completely. In his kitchen. In his house. At 7 in the morning. J1 stood in the doorway. I have had people in this house my entire life, he thought. Staff. Lieutenants. Associates. People who arrange themselves carefully the moment I walk into a room. She is making eggs. In my kitchen. Humming. She looked up. Saw him. Did not startle. Did not arrange her expression. Just looked at him the way she always looked at him. Sit down, she said. It is almost ready. You cooked, he said. Your kitchen has everything, she said. It would have been wasteful not to. She turned back to the stove. I told the staff I wanted to do it myself. He looked at his kitchen, that a team of people maintained perfectly, that he walked through every morning without stopping, that had apparently been waiting, quietly, for someone to actually use it. He sat down. She put a plate in front of him. Put one down for herself. Sat across from him without ceremony. He looked at the plate. What is this, he said. Fur, she said. Ethiopian. With what your kitchen had available. She sat down across from him. It is not exactly right but it is close enough. He took a bite. Looked up at her. This is the best thing I have eaten in this house, he said. That is a little sad, she said. He looked at her. Then. He laughed. Short. Real. Completely unplanned. Salam looked at him. Like she had just seen something she was not sure she was supposed to see, and was very glad she did. He caught himself. Looked at his plate. She said nothing. Just smiled quietly at her own food. Let him have the moment. Without making it bigger than it was. Which somehow made it the biggest thing that had happened in that house in a very long time. Late that night. Salam found him at the large table. Papers spread everywhere. The specific stillness of a man carrying something heavy, alone, the way he had always carried everything. She said nothing. Put tea down beside him. Turned to leave. Salam, he said. She turned. He was looking at the tea. Then at her. You did not ask what I wanted, he said. You needed something warm, she said. That is what you wanted. He looked at her. How do you do that, he said. Do what, she said. Know things. About me. Without asking. She looked at him steadily. Because I watch you, she said simply. The same way you watch everything. Except, she paused, I think when I watch you I am seeing something different than what you want people to see. What do you see, he said. She looked at him for a long moment. Someone who is very tired, she said. And has been for a long time. And has nowhere to put it. The room was very quiet. Get used to having somewhere to put it, she said quietly. And walked away. He called after her, not loudly. Just her name. She stopped. Did not turn immediately. Then turned. Why are you still up, he said. She looked at him. Because you were still up. He had no answer for that. Sleep, she said. Whatever is on that table will still be there in the morning. It always is. She looked at him once more. But you will be better for having rested. Then she was gone. Jae-won sat with those words long after she was gone. Long after the tea had gone cold. Staring at nothing. Feeling something shift very quietly, in a place inside him that had been closed for so long he had forgotten it was there. The next morning. Jae-won was walking past the sitting room. He heard her laugh. Stopped. She was on her phone, talking to someone, a friend from the sound of it, laughing at something they had said. That laugh. The same laugh that had started everything. Unguarded and sudden and completely real. Jae-won stood outside the doorway. Did not go in. Just stood there. Hand flat against the wall beside the door. Eyes closed. This, he thought. This is the thing. This specific sound. This is what I have been coming back to that restaurant for. This is what I have been thinking about every morning when I wake up. Not just her. This. The way she laughs when nothing is stopping her. I want to be the reason for it. I want to say something, and hear that, and know it was me. He stood there until it stopped. Then walked away quietly. Like a man who had just understood something that had been true for a while, and could not be unfiled. That evening. The house was quiet around them. The kind of quiet that does not ask you to fill it. The kind that sits with you and waits, until you say the true thing. They were across from each other at the table. Jae-won had been looking at her for a while. Not the way he looked at rooms. Not the way he looked at problems. The way a man looks at something when he has finally stopped pretending he is not looking. What? Salam said. He was quiet for a moment. That first night, he said. When you laughed. She said nothing. Just waited. The way she always waited, like she had all the time in the world and intended to use it. I have been making that joke, he said. Versions of it. In rooms full of powerful men. For years. He paused. Nobody ever laughs. Not once. Because every person in every room I walk into is too busy performing something at me. Fear. Respect. Agreement. Loyalty. All of it arranged. All of it calculated. Every smile measured. Every word weighed. Nobody in any of those rooms has ever just heard me. Salam looked at him steadily. And then you laughed, he said. Not because you were trying to impress me. Not because you wanted something from me. Because it was actually funny. Because you just heard it. Without everything else underneath it. He stopped. I went home that night, he said. And I could not sleep. Because I kept thinking, when was the last time someone looked at me and saw a person? Not what I run. Not what I control. Not what I could do to them. Not what they needed from me. Just, a man who said something. The room was very still. Every time I came back to that restaurant, he said. It was not the food. It was not habit. It was not business. He looked at her directly. It was because sitting across from you was the only place in my entire life where I could just exist. Without performing. Without calculating. Without being what everyone needed me to be. He paused. You gave me that. Without knowing. Without trying. You just treated me like a person at your table. And I did not know how long I had been starving for that, until you showed me what it felt like. Salam was quiet for a long moment. Then. The first night, she said softly. When I laughed, she paused. I felt you before I heard the joke. The moment you walked into that room, something shifted. And I looked up. She stopped. And I saw you. Not what everyone else was seeing. Not the power. Not the silence you carry into rooms. I saw a man who was completely alone in a room full of people. Who said something genuinely clever. And then went completely still, waiting, just waiting, to see if anyone would respond to it honestly. She looked at him. I responded honestly, she said. You did, he said quietly. I have been responding honestly every time since, she said. Every night at that table. Every conversation. Every time you said something and waited to see if I would just hear it. She paused. I heard all of it, J1. Not just the words. Everything underneath the words. Every single time. He looked at her. From the very first night, she said, something in me already knew. That is why I laughed. Not just because it was funny. She looked at him with complete honesty. Because something in me was already responding to you. Before I had a name for what that meant. The space between them had become very small. J1 stood up slowly. Walked around the table. Stood in front of her. She looked up at him. He reached down. Took both her hands. And gently brought her to her feet, until she was standing directly in front of him. Close. Looking up at him. And he looking down at her. Salam, he said. Just her name. The way you say something you have been holding carefully for a long time. From the night you laughed, he said, and told me exactly why it was funny, from the night you sat across from me and told me where I fell slightly short, from every night you put food in front of me that you chose yourself, from the morning you made breakfast in my kitchen like you had always belonged there, he stopped. You have been the only real thing in my entire world. The only thing that had nothing performed in it. Nothing calculated. Nothing arranged. His voice dropped lower. I did not know what to do with that at first, he said. Because I have never had it. Not once. Not from anyone. He looked at her, her hands still in his, her eyes holding his completely. You are not just a woman I cannot stop thinking about, he said. You are the first person who made me feel like being just a man was enough. Salam's eyes were bright. She did not look away. I am done pretending this is nothing, he said. I am done coming to that restaurant and telling myself it is about the food. I am done watching you walk away and filing it somewhere. He straightened. Looked at her with everything. Every wall gone. Every filing cabinet empty. Just him. You are mine, he said. Quietly. Completely. If you will have me. Not the power. Not the rooms full of people. Just me. He lifted one hand. Touched her face gently. His thumb resting against her cheek. And you will never stand at another man's table again, he said. Not because I am taking something from you. But because you were never just a waitress, Salam. You were never just anything. He looked at her like she was the only thing in the room. In the house. In all of Seoul. You are a queen. You have always been a queen. You just happened to be standing in a room where nobody was paying attention. Salam looked at him. For a long moment she said nothing. Then. I am still here, she said softly. I have been here since the moment you walked into that room. I just waited for you to catch up. Something broke open in Jaewon's face. Warm. Complete. Irreversible. He pulled her in. Both arms wrapping around her fully. One hand at her back. One hand cradling the back of her head. Bringing her into his chest, like a man who had been cold for a very long time, and had finally found somewhere warm, and was not letting go. Salam's hands came up slowly. Feeling the fabric of his shirt. Then holding it. Then holding him. Her face against his chest. Feeling his heartbeat, steady and real, right there, right under her ear. He rested his chin on top of her head. Closed his eyes. The house was completely quiet. No performance. No calculation. No arranged silence. Just two people standing in the middle of a room. Holding each other. Like the world outside could wait, for as long as they needed it to. Morning. Woo Jin's call came at 7. Jaewon listened. Said nothing for a moment. Then, how many? 6, sir, Woo Jin said. Maybe more inside. They have been there since 5. Broke the front window already. Staff cannot get in. Jaewon put the phone down. Salam was sitting across the table. Looking at him. Already knowing from his face. The restaurant, she said. Yes, he said. She stood up immediately. I am coming, she said. Salam. It is my restaurant too, she said. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just stated. The way she stated everything. Like it was simply true and the conversation was already finished. Jaewon looked at her for a long moment. You stay in the car, he said. You do not come out. Whatever happens, you stay in the car. She looked at him. Agreed, she said. He called Woo Jin back. Gave him the plan. Told him where to position. Told him when to move. They left. They arrived 2 streets away. Jaewon's car stopped. Woo Jin and 4 others in the car behind. Jaewon turned to Salam. Stay here, he said. Door locked. You do not move. She looked at him. Come back to this car, she said. He held her gaze for one moment. Then got out. Salam watched him through the windshield, walking toward the restaurant, alone, unhurried, like a man who had already decided how this was going to end and was simply going to go and finish it. She pressed her hand flat against the glass. Come back, she thought. Just come back. Park's 6 men were spread across the front of the restaurant. They saw Jae-won coming. One of them smiled. Just him, he said to the others. They sent just him. Jae-won stopped in front of them. Looked at all 6. Last time, he said quietly. Walk away. The man who had smiled laughed. Last time, he repeated, mocking it. They came at once. Jae-won moved left, let the first man's momentum carry him past, caught the second one by the collar, drove him into the third, both of them down. The fourth came from the right. Jae-won took the hit. Turned with it. Used the turn. Put his elbow into the man's jaw. Down. 2 left. They came together. 1 high. 1 low. Jae-won dropped, let the high one fly over him, came back up with everything, straight into the second one's chest. The first one recovered. Grabbed Jae-won from behind. Locked his arms. Jae-won threw his head back. The man's grip loosened. Not enough. Then Woo-jin and the others came through the side street. 4 of Park's men who had been waiting inside the restaurant poured out through the broken front window. The fight split, Woo-jin taking 2, Lieutenant Han taking 2 more. And the man holding Jae-won reached into his jacket. Salam saw it from the car. She saw the hand going into the jacket. She saw Jae-won's arms still locked. She saw what was about to happen. She was out of the car before she decided to move. Running. The man's hand was coming back out of his jacket. Salam hit him from the side. Full body. Every bit of her weight. Shoulder into his ribs. It was not a trained hit. It was not elegant. It was a woman who was terrified and courageous in exactly the same moment, throwing herself at something that was about to hurt someone she loved, without calculating, without hesitating, without stopping. The man stumbled. Lost his grip on Jae-won. Dropped what was in his hand. Jae-won spun free. Turned. Saw Salam. Saw the man recovering. Already moving. 1 hit. Clean. Final. The man went down and stayed down. Silence. Jae-won turned to Salam. She was standing there. Breathing hard. Eyes wide. Looking at her own shoulder like she was surprised it had done that. He crossed to her in 3 steps. Took her face in both hands. Are you hurt? He said. No, she said. Still breathing hard. I told you I would stay in the car. You did, he said. I lied, she said. He looked at her, this woman, who had just thrown herself at a man twice her size, out of a locked car, because she saw what was about to happen and could not stay still. And he pulled her in. Held her the way you hold something you almost lost before you were ready. His hand at the back of her head. Her hands gripping his jacket. Both of them just breathing, in the middle of the street, in the quiet after everything. I told you to stay in the car, he said into her hair. I know, she said. Salam. I know, she said again. But I saw him and she stopped. I could not stay in the car, Jae-won. I could not. He held her tighter. Said nothing. Because there was nothing to say that holding her did not already say better. They came back. Walked through the restaurant door together, Jae-won and Salam, side by side. The staff were already there. Cleaning. Writing tables. Putting things back in order. They stopped when they saw J1. Looked at him, the way people look at someone who came back for something that was not his obligation, and came back anyway. J1 stood in the middle of the room. Looked at the space. At the tables being set right. At the kitchen door swinging as people moved through it. At the corner where Salam's section was, where all of this had started, with a laugh, that nobody else in that room had dared to give him. Salam came and stood beside him. He looked at her. "It is going to be fine," she said. "I know," he said. She looked around the room. At the staff moving quietly. At the broken window being boarded. At a place that had been roughed up, and was already being put back together. "This is a good place," she said. "It is," he said. "Because of the people in it," she said. He looked at her. She looked back at him. Steady. Unhurried. Not making it into anything bigger than what it was, which was somehow the exact reason it was everything. Then he said something. Dry. Quiet. Perfectly observed, about the staff member in the corner who was putting the tables back in the wrong arrangement with complete confidence. Salam heard it. And laughed. Real. Sudden. Unguarded. The exact same laugh. The one that had started everything. J1 turned and looked at her. She looked back. Eyes bright. Hand not covering her mouth this time. Not stopping it. Just letting it be exactly what it was. "You did it again," he said. "You were funny again," she said. He looked at her. And this time, he did not stop the smile. Did not file it away. Did not pull it back. Just let her see it, completely, the way she had been letting him see her from the very first night. And Salam looked at that smile, the one that had been waiting behind everything, all this time. And felt exactly what she had felt the first moment she looked up in that room and saw him. That this man, this specific man, had always been worth every honest thing she had given him.